We are going to be doing a new graph. This is the money market graph. Okay, so what is it? This is the market where the Federal Reserve and the users of money interact to set the nominal interest rate and supply of money. Things to keep in mind. Remember, the Federal Reserve is the only entity that controls the money supply at any given time, and the nominal interest rate is the price of borrowing money. And remember, nominal means it's not adjusted for inflation. So if we look here, why do we do this? It determines our nominal interest rate, aka how much it costs to borrow money, and the money supply at any given time in the economy. All right, so you're going to have your nominal interest rate over here on the y-axis. On the x-axis, we're going to have quantity of money. Your money demand curve is downward sloping, and that's because as the nominal interest rate decreases, people are more likely to hold money. Either they're more likely to take it out in the form of a loan, or they're less likely to keep it in the bank to earn interest, because as the interest rate goes down, your opportunity cost for holding money in your pocket instead of a bank account decreases. All right. So your transaction demand of money is this very tip at the very top. Transaction demand of money is the money that you need to go to like the grocery store. And it's not affected by the interest rate. That's why no matter how high the interest rate gets, our transaction demand of money is going to be right there, because we don't check interest rates before we go get our groceries. The money supply curve is straight up and down, and that is because the Federal Reserve sets the money supply. They have a monopoly on the supply of money. So remember, it's set by the Fed, and they have three tools to control money supply. One is the discount rate. If they decrease the discount rate, your money supply curve is going to shift out to the right, and you're going to have a lower nominal interest rate. Because if they decrease the discount rate, banks borrow for cheaper from the Fed, and they'll lend it to us cheaper, and we will take out more loans. If you increase the discount rate, the money supply curve shifts to the left, and you end up with a higher nominal interest rate, and people spend less. Aggregate demand would decrease. Reserve requirement ratios, which we've talked about, if you lower them, banks can make out loans more easily. The money supply curve shifts to the right and increases, and you end up with a lower nominal interest rate. People are more likely to spend. If you increase the discount rate, the money supply curve will shift to the left, and you'll end up with a higher nominal interest rate. Okay, next, finally, open market operations, the most important one. If the Fed buys bonds, remember, buy bonds, big money, money supply curve shifts to the right, you end up with a lower nominal interest rate, greater supply of money. People will spend more, aggregate demand increases. Also, more money means that inflation is going to increase as well. If the Fed sells bonds, sell bonds, small money, money supply curve shifts to the left, you end up with a lower supply of money, a higher nominal interest rate, aggregate demand will decrease and shift to the left. The demand of money is affected or determined by the users of money. So like us, consumers, the government, businesses, foreigners, anybody like that. Inflation is going to affect the money demand curve. If price level increases, if inflation goes up, we'll need more money to buy the same stuff. Money demand curve shifts to the right, and you have a higher nominal interest rate. If price level decreases, the opposite occurs. We need less money to buy things. Money demand curve shifts to the left. You have a lower nominal interest rate. GDP, if you have growth, if you have an increase in real GDP, we're buying more stuff, money demand curve shifts to the right, you have a higher nominal interest rate. And then the opposite is true. If real GDP decreases, money demand curve shifts to the left, you have a lower nominal interest rate. And then finally, credit card use affects this as well. Credit cards are not money. And so if you increase your use of credit cards, then the money demand curve would decrease and shift to the left, and you'd have a lower nominal interest rate. And then vice versa. If we stopped using credit cards, it would increase. Okay, follow along to the next video, and I'll show you an example, a couple examples of this real quick.